Hi, I'm Seamless. Today is Friday, which means it's time for a new How to Bass. And today I'm going to show you how to make this sound. Nice. Also, I want to point out that I actually have one of my shirts now. Look at it. I'm wearing myself. That just feels weird. Also, you might notice this pile of paper here. I have health insurance, which is good. You should have health insurance. But ever since I've got health insurance, I've received like more mail in the last 2 months, like paper mail, than I have in my entire life combined. God, the whole point of the whole healthcare.gov thing was supposed to be to reduce the paperage. Just so many. Oh my God, whatever. Anyway, so this sound, I'm on kind of this kick of doing sounds that only require the plugins that I'm using to make them. I'm not using crazy huge patcher chains and whatever. Although I do certainly enough of that in real life. For these videos, I'm trying to sort of combine it. In the last couple, I've done mostly Harmer stuff. I've done stuff that was very unique and specific to Harmer. And right now, I'm doing something that's very unique and very specific to Sytrus. I want to point out that this sound has absolutely no post. It doesn't even have any like internal post. I'm not even using the internal filters or distortion or anything. It's just operator 1 being FM'd by 2, 3, and 4 and going straight out. That's all this sound is. So what's up, eh? This is actually a great. I mean, if you look at the video, you already know this is Additive FM, which is actually to say I am FMing operator 1 by cumulatively a saw wave. And what I mean by this is that in Sytrus, in this oscillator tab, we have the option to individually engage the individual harmonics, which is exactly what FM synthesis is. And there's actually even an ability where you can make a waveform, which is a regular subtractive normal recording of a waveform, and you can say convert to sine harmonics, and it'll actually build it in the harmonics. And this is like, you can do this with any shape. If I do funky, crazy, whatever shape, and then it'll make that in harmonics. And this is actually exactly how Harmer works, and it actually has a very similar interface. And I was trying to, like, a long time ago, and I was finally like understanding how FM and how additive synthesis worked. Synthesis. My thought was like, how can I make this better? What about this? What could I do with this that would be super game changing? And that was to actually combine the ideas of additive synthesis and FM synthesis. And with Sytrus, you can combine it in one particular way. You can combine it in the sense that you are FMing an operator by a grouping of individual harmonics, which in true additive fashion, this isn't so much that I'm operating on operator 1 with 3 other operators. It's like I'm operating on it with probably somewhere like 500-ish individual sine waves. And I say it's one way because the other way is where you're doing this, but like Harmer, you have actually like individual control over the motion and movement of all these harmonics. In this case, you basically can only have as much control of the groups that you create inside, the oscillator tab. You do have control over the phase. Like, this is what this bottom bar is. The top bar is the particular harmonic you're engaging. The bottom bar is the phase of that particular harmonic. So you do have volume and phase control, and it's just the pitch control that gets kind of difficult to do, because right now I can only control all of these harmonics pitch at one time. I can only control all of these harmonics pitch at one time, and all of these harmonics pitch at one time, which is enough. It's enough of a difference that it does actually impact the sound. So the way that I do this, I'll just do the mechanics of it from scratch here, because it might not be super clear, but it's actually just a lot of manual work. So if I have a saw wave, like we did before, you right-click it and say convert shape to sine harmonics, and then we have all the harmonics. And then all that I did was that I said, okay, like you can see in here on this particular operator, I got rid of every harmonic besides that one. At least I hope I did. Okay, there we go. Now I did. And then I do the same thing again over here. Oops. And same deal. Get rid of the lower ones, and then kind of pick some higher arbitrary position to get rid of on this guy. And then same deal over here. Notice that like the position that I select for the oscillator window and the size is the same for every single one. So all I have to do to stay here is just do the same thing again, and it'll be already in the position that I was in. I can pick this and go back to the beginning. Also note that when I click and drag and apply it past, like I'm moving the mouse off to like the side. It's not because you're not seeing what's actually happening, it's because this is not showing it, but it is still applying it. So you can just grab it and go, and then you'll actually have it gone, which is a nice little UI thing, which may or may not have been a glitch at once upon a time. But now we have 3 individual sections of a saw wave. You could have more. You could do 5, presumably, or you could do 6. But the idea is that we want to modulate a sine wave by these things. So that means we have to have one operator that's just a sine wave, and then you kind of pick your position. And the benefit of doing this is now that we can change the pitch of these things. Which, just like the harmonic unison pitch window graph in Harmor, will create this kind of unspecific movement, because now we're having different pitches on different parts of the frequency spectrum, combining together the FM something, and it's creating a very interesting profile. Which I just messed around with until I got the one that I wanted. That wasn't going for a specific sound. This particular sound that I did get, though, what I think I would use this for most effectively would be as a vocoder carrier or something, because it does have that it has its own almost kind of form and nature to it, but not enough of it going on. But it's still actually very sharp and defined, which works out pretty well as a vocoder carrier. I'm controlling the mod input with mod X here, which is why I'm able to modulate it. Alternatively, you could also FM in these individual bits. So like the additive FM, like true additive FM to me would be if you have all these individual harmonics and you FM like another oscillator, and then you can change like how much FM you're applying to those harmonic, like speed, like pitch, depth, and like polarity and all these things. Basically, it's very closely related to just pitch, volume, and phase of actual harmonics, and then you've got your additive version of FM. And I honestly really don't know what that sounds like. Harmor has a particular kind of trick you can do with the phaser, which I've done a how to base on, where you can kind of approximate what this is like, but you don't get the kind of control that I'd want in a system like that. It's also not perfectly representing exactly what you want to do with it, so it's a bit rough. But this is a version of that, a different kind of almost that was inside Sytrus, and I think it's kind of awesome. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, let me know. This particular patch will be available for download in the description of this video. If you have any questions about this, let me know. As usual, have a nice day.